Hi everyone, so it's just Tanya here with your Whittlesey and surrounding areas property news update. So this week there's been a big announcement nationally alongside other really active things happening locally. So what I'm going to do is break it down into what happened with the interest rates, why it's actually more positive than the headlines suggest, and then what's happening around here with the new instructions and sales agreed. So yesterday the Bank of England held the base rate at 3.75%, exactly as expected. So on the surface, some people might see this as a negative, but actually when you look deeper, there's a lot of positivity here. So firstly, rates are still lower than they were this time last year by 0.75%, and significantly better than they were even 18 months ago. So what's happened is not a reversal, it's simply a pause. A lot of this decision has been influenced by the global events pushing energy prices back, which has obviously impacted the inflation forecasts. But importantly, the direction long term is still expected to be on downward. So we can see that mortgage rates are still far more competitive than they were, and the property market itself does remain strong. So why are we saying that this is positive? Well, what we're seeing and what the data confirms is that buyer demand is still there, sales are still being agreed, and confidence hasn't disappeared. In fact, sales agreed across the UK are up around 9% compared to last year, and we're also seeing listings are higher than pre-pandemic levels. So it's important to recognise that despite the noise in the media, this is not a market in decline, it's just a market adjusting and continuing to adjust to what's happening. So let's look at what's happening locally. So as always, we discuss about all properties released in the last 7 days across all agents, and then we'll go on to the sales agreed. So new properties listed this week. There were 26 new properties launched. That was 8 detached houses, 8 semi-detached. There were 7 bungalows, 2 flats apartments, and then there was 1 terraced house. So between that combination, we can see that there's plenty of choice coming onto the market, especially in the family home and bungalow sector. Sales agreed this week, again across all agents, there's been 8 properties that have undergone or under offer. We break that down into 4 detached houses. There were 2 land opportunities, 1 bungalow and 1 semi-detached. But if we break that down even further, I think it's quite useful to see what's happening in the price bracket points. So what we can really see and what's really interesting is where the demand is. So there were 4 sales agreed under the £200,000 mark, 3 between 200 and 300, and then 1 between 300 and 400,000, obviously. So nothing above 400,000 this week, but if you remember last week there was. So what that tells us is that the market is still moving, buyers are just being more selective, there is strong demand in the lower to the mid-range price ranges, good activity for reasonably priced homes, and continued movement across all property types. So overall, despite the headlines, the property market remains steady, buyers are still active, and there are still opportunities for both buyers and sellers. But I keep saying it, pricing correctly and understanding the market has never been more important. So as always, if you're thinking of moving or just want to understand what your property is worth in the current market, then please do get in touch. We're always happy to help to have those conversations. And if you'd like the full breakdown that I've talked about with the Bank of England base rate, we've got the full article on the website, and we should be able to post it into the kind of descriptions and things here. So take care and have a good week.